Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today, we're talking to the owners of an exciting business in Covington, Creative House of Art and Design. The owners are Chad Turner and Chuck Beatty. They talk to us about opening a business during the pandemic and how they are creating a safe and creative space for young learners. Thank you to our sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, C Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsors, Horan and Heartland Bank. Before we hear more from those sponsors and meet our members of the week, I want to talk about an upcoming event for the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, and that is our April edition of Eggs and Issues. This Eggs and Issues is transforming Northern Kentucky through economic partnerships. Northern Kentucky Triad launched Build and Elevate NKY, a new fundraising campaign earlier this year to fund 4 key strategies focused on achieving the company's vision of opportunity and prosperity for all of Northern Kentucky. CEO Lee Kroom will share details about the campaign, the strategies that expand the economic development work that Triad is doing already, and Triad's 2021 results. You can find more details and register at nkychamber.com. So if you liked our earlier episode this year with Lee Kroom, this is going to be a great Eggs and Issues for you to attend. Now let's meet our members of the week, hear from our sponsors, and I will circle back with you guys right here with Creative House of Art and Design.
CVG Airport is the lowest fare airport in the tri-state region with 54 nonstop flights and direct international service to 7 destinations, including Paris, France, and now home to both DHL's and Amazon's global cargo hubs. The airport is furthering its position as leader in aviation and is deeply committed to being an economic driver for the community. You can learn more and start your next adventure at cvgairport.com.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Kate's Catering and Personal Chef Services takes a custom approach to conventional catering. Tri-A Solutions specializes in footings, architectural walls, and flatwork, including hard trowel slabs. Skyline Chili Crescent Springs is famous for incredibly delicious cheese conies in 3 ways. The Elsa Sewell Foundation is a private foundation which provides funding for nonprofit organizations that serve people within Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, providing opportunities in education, community, and the arts. The Farm Stand Market and Cafe is a farm-to-table restaurant featuring scratch-made lunch, dinner, and dessert menus. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast. I am here with Chuck Beatty and Chad Turner. They are the owners of Creative House and Art and Design. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and let's get started. You guys have a really interesting story about how you founded your company. Can you guys take me back through it?
Go ahead.
Okay, wait. Well, it started like in a coffee shop where we just came up with the idea of doing art and having a facility where we could host it in the community somewhere. And we got our business plan like 4 years ago, and it just kind of sat in an envelope on our thought board where it's like, hey, we're going to do this one day. So kind of like COVID hit, and we're like, well, what do we do? We lost our jobs, and next thing you know, we're at Findlay Market selling artwork every weekend, and that was enough to leave our jobs and come up with this really cool idea and use our thought board and be like, hey, let's start our business.
Yeah, it was a weird time because we both, I was in event planning with the Aronoff Center. So we were trying to find like different niches within the idea that we originally had to utilize both of our strengths that we had. him being the art and myself being like the event planning side of it. So it's kind of coming together, retooling that business plan and figuring out a way and a space, luckily, that came up in Main Strasse Village at a weird time that it was all the lights, all the things pointing in the right direction led us to where we are today, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. One of the things that's good about the pandemic, but also at times tragic, is you have so many of these stories where people lost their jobs, they're struggling to make ends meet. But in a lot of ways, it's really allowed people to kind of pivot to what they wanted to do. And you guys both have, art backgrounds, kind of slightly different, but it's really interesting that you guys have created this space in the community. And so how has it been starting a business in the middle of the pandemic?
I think what was so great about the smaller space that we have is that it's conducive to smaller classes and it's conducive to smaller events. And at the time that we opened, that's the only thing we could do are small events. Every one of the students or the parents that came in said, we feel safe in here. So it was just a learning, and it was to open a business during the pandemic is also a good way to test things out and not be fully open. Like the limitations were kind of there to go, okay, we can't do this, but we can plan this in the future. So definitely an interesting time, but a good time to kind of like flesh out a few things and make things work.
Yeah, I think that was good. The nice part is our class sizes are only 10 people. When we first opened, we were actually only letting 8 in, and everybody was 4 feet apart or 6 feet apart. They all have their own table. And now, even with COVID still going on, I know the restrictions are a little bit less. Everybody still has their own 4-foot table. There's hand sanitizer at every table. We require the kids to wear a mask while they're in the class, and our faculty wears masks as well. And the parents actually sit in the bar area and watch TV while the kids are in here with us.
Yeah. You guys actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Tell me a little bit about everything that Creative House and Art and Design does, because you guys do so much. Like just looking at your website, looking at your social media, it's the gamut.
It's really fun. Like, so we're kind of like a creative space for everyone. Like, you're welcome to bring your laptop here and work. In our bar, we have 3 Wi-Fi networks that are free for our customers to use. When you come in the store, we have a lot of wooden products that we laser cut them all ourselves. And we hand assemble all our earrings. We design a lot of them in Illustrator and use our glow forges to cut them out. We sell art supplies. We do art classes for kids and adults. We have watch parties for RuPaul. And we have a wrestling Thursday. So like we watch like WrestleManias. It's a lot of fun. It's just overall, it's a creative space for everyone to hang out, feel safe. And if you have a creative idea and you don't have a spot to do it, we would love to host creative events like that. Small gatherings that are a safe space for everyone, just to come be creative. And the fun part is we're very family friendly. So you can get crafts, whatever you buy in the store, you're allowed to open and do here. So yeah, there's a lot. There's so much we do.
And it's one of the things when we first got the space, and the landlord and the person we're working with, like, oh, so we have a liquor license that's attached to the facility. So that was never in the initial plan. So we're like, oh, okay, let's see what we can do with the liquor license. And at the time we opened, things were pretty shut down and we weren't able to serve anything. So we opened February of last year. But it was one of those things where, you can come in and have a drink, and like, if you want to watch something on TV and no one else is there, or everyone agrees, like, just sit down, have a drink and watch something on TV, or just sit in the corner, grab a drink and do artwork. We have a beautiful patio in the back that we redid. So we have data space available to everyone. We've done painting parties outside. Mm-hmm. We did a pumpkin patch. Basically everyone could grab a pumpkin and paint a pumpkin while they're here. So we had those kind of workshops. So it's just trying to find, as we open in the first year, reaching out to people that we know, find out things that they wanted to do artistically, and reaching out to the community that we have right here in Main Strasse. We have the John R. Green lofts that just opened. A lot of those residents come down here. We bring them down here. River House, just kind of connecting with everyone in the area, and kind of asking them, like, what do you all want to do? Because we have a space and we're open to ideas. So come do what you want to do here. So
we did a drag queen paint class. So it was 4 weeks. We had a drag queen teach people how to paint in drag. And it was just where else could you get that?
Yeah, that's such a unique offering, like for all of Greater Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And we're going to bring it back. And it's one of those things where we want creative things that you might not be able to find everywhere, but like drag painting for kids, or teenagers or adults, things like that, where it's just, we don't say any idea is a bad idea. We just see how can we tailor it to fit our demographic.
And you had mentioned safe space before. When we have our RuPaul watch parties, we also, incorporate the bar with folks that can drink back there. But we also show it up here in the front of the store on the TV that you see behind me. And we actually had someone come from like 50 miles away because she found out that we were having a watch party, or they found out that we were having a watch party. And them and their dad came and watched RuPaul. And this was the first time they felt comfortable in a space that wasn't their home to sit down and be with other like-minded people and enjoy a show like that. So that was kind of like, that hit home, like we're doing the right thing. We're trying to find the right things to bring the community together. And that's not necessarily a thing that they could find where they live. So
sorry, that story always gets me, because like we honestly didn't come into this to create that. It's just the kind of people we are. Like we don't exclude anybody. We don't want anybody to feel like they're not safe here. And that story alone, like, it's just like touch. It's like, oh my God, I didn't even mean to do that. It's just how we are. And it's kind of like don't treat people how you want to be treated. And that's kind of like how we kind of run our business, is like, hey, you're safe here because we want to be in a safe space. And when they drive 55 miles every week to come watch RuPaul, I'm just like blown away. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you have to drive that far.
Yeah, but it's still so cool, especially you guys, like you've mentioned, you have a diverse range of community members, from the people that live in Main Strasse to working with kids and your backgrounds, and the LGBT community that loves RuPaul, though everybody can love RuPaul.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the drag race? But it's really cool that you guys are, you did not necessarily make that an intentional thing with your company, but it is becoming part of it. So it's really neat to see how you guys are kind of opening your doors like that. How do you think about that in your day-to-day? What do you guys do? I know you said it's just kind of who you guys are as people, but
well, our staff isn't really, we don't have a huge staff, but I have been like, we've been talking about like pronouns and like how to address customers, like trying to use like a general term instead of like putting people in boxes and things like that. And yeah, it's a little different for them, but they're trying, and like we're trying as well. Just kind of, I know I try to say you're all, or like, hey, everyone, even in my classes now. We just want people to feel like they belong. And
I think for the everyday, I think the fortunate part is like Chad has a great ability of listening to what the people in his class say, the kids in this class, the adults. And we actually literally reach out to them and say, what kind of ideas do you have that we can put into our day-to-day? So kind of to answer your question, how do we come up with that? It's like we're fountains of information. We just collect the information and say, how can we make this a space you want to be? And then how do you implement it? Because there's a business side of it too. If somebody has an idea, you have to make it, okay, how does it work financially and fiscally for us to be able to do something like that and come up with ways? And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But day to day, just trying to figure out those little niches, and especially in a kind of compressed time with COVID, and trying to make the events small enough and not make anyone feel unsafe while they're doing those.
He does the business side, I color.
You gotta have both. You gotta have balance. You guys are a pretty new company. So as you're looking forward to your future, what do you guys see? What do you want to do?
We're taking over the world. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Well, I think eventually, like just being able to host bigger parties, maybe having a second location in the future, or maybe like having our own event space where maybe our classes are here and our parties are somewhere else. We're not keeping like anything off the table, because we're definitely open to ideas, and like we're excited to see like where we can go. But at the same time, we don't want to expand too fast, because we still want the quality and to be there.
Yeah, I think the ability to be able to do like paint sips for adults and have adult featured activities stay in Main Strasse, and then maybe the second location would be more of the classes and those kind of things going on. So it's kind of like tier both sides and be able to offer more in a larger space, so we can have more kids in class and
Right.
supply more art activities in the area.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, I wish you could be in the classroom when the kids are here. This weekend we were singing Encanto. I was like, oh my gosh, this should go viral. These kids and the kids knew the dance and everything. It was hilarious. It's just a great environment because the kids want to be here and they love learning. And like, I like Pokemon just as much as they do.
Yeah. And I'm sure, especially in this like day and age, especially when you guys would have started, a lot of these kids were like locked down. They weren't out with their friends. I know I have a cousin who started kindergarten in the middle of the pandemic, and I'm like, buddy, you don't know what school's like.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of experience.
Yeah. Sorry. Like, so our kids were locked up. So we actually started a YouTube channel before we opened the store. And like every day at noon, we would go Facebook Live and like do free art lessons for kids at home. So we were reaching, like, one of our videos reached like, I think like 5,000 views in 24 hours.
Wow.
And some of our students were all the way out in California, like locked up in their house saying like, we tune in, Mr. Chad, to watch you on TV. I'm like, I'm on Facebook, guys. But they had, that was one way to just reach out to the kids, because as an artist, they have to be creative. It's just like in our nature. So, and them being able to like see their teacher or like Mr. Chad on Facebook to help them be like, hey, we can still do art with Mr. Chad every day. It's okay.
And I think that definitely leads kind of back to your question about day to day. Those kind of things we brought from that YouTube channel and the show to what we do now in person. So finding those things that work even with that, and knowing that, you know, if you offer similar things or that kind of model, that the parents and the kids are like, we love it. We're going to keep coming back for it. So it's just making those connections and keeping those connections that kind of helped us through definitely the first year.
Yeah. And before I let you go, guys, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you if they want to do classes or learn more about you guys?
The best way to get a hold of us is through Facebook. Creative House AD is our handle on Facebook, Instagram, and creativehousead.com is also our website. So we're updating as much as we have a lot of events going on. So we try to update those as much as possible via the Facebook page. And that's where we get our most direct contact with people, is through Facebook. We do a lot of lives. We do a lot of like special pop-ups through Facebook, but yeah, that's probably the primary location to find all the classes. And we just try to keep everyone updated what's going on.
Yeah. And then before I let you guys go, do you have any other parting words for our podcast listeners today?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So my thing is this, it's a quote by Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can do it. It's all over our store. It's my inspiration, because don't give up on what you do. Just keep trying, and it will happen if you keep trying. So that's just my favorite quote. If you can dream it, you can do it.
My parting words is, I've lived in this area my entire life, and not Covington, but the Cincinnati area. And we have something really special in Northern Kentucky that I don't think anyone else has, even just across the river. I think this is a special community, and then we all band together and we make these great things happen. So being part of the chamber and being part of the different groups are so important, because that's the way we can get out in the community and work together to make this area strive. And I think it's striving like crazy even in these weird times. So I think being a part of that is awesome. And then we get to bring like an artistic side of it and get to hang out with folks. So yeah, those are my parting words.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope our podcast listeners either bring their kids down or join you guys for some RuPaul Drag Race. I know I'll try to check that out. That sounds like a blast. But thank you guys again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shannon Schumacher, Account Executive, Kentucky Market Leader. At Haran, we champion bold innovation to help employers and individuals thrive. As an industry thought leader, we explore new horizons in healthcare, benefits, employee engagement, and wellness. We work harder to deliver all the strategic benefits, planning, and execution you expect from a true partner. And we do it with laser focus on your short and long-term outcomes to help manage your benefits while improving your employee experience.
So Heartland is celebrating its 110th anniversary this year. Recently, we partnered with the Kinkle family and the Fisher family in northern Kentucky, Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. And we have 3 offices there to serve the northern Kentucky region. Just remember, when the economy heats up, come see us at Heartland Bank, where banking really feels good.
Come on over to Heartland, where banking feels good.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Chuck and Chad. I really love the idea of their space, and I think I will be there to check out some RuPaul's Drag Race later this year. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, Sea Crew Consulting, Haran, and Heartland Bank. Don't forget to get tickets for the upcoming Eggs and Issues in April. And finally, if you're a member who would like to be featured on the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, or if you really liked this episode and you are interested in becoming a member of the Chamber, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. You can find her contact information in our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next week.